feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank Podcast right here in Conroe, the Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce. We're here live in the studio. We had Craig Williams today, and his company is Excalibur Pest Control. This is a great interview for anyone that wants to maybe think about coming up in a family business. Like we had Ben here today, my son, he's like interested in coming up in our family business. We had Ashley, she was on the show. It was awesome. And Craig, we just want to ask you a couple of questions. And I'll say ladies first, Ashley.
All right. One of my favorite answers that you gave during the podcast was about who you find as mentors in your life and how they really are driving around in your truck and you with you as you drive around town. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I really try and leverage my time wisely, and so when I'm in my truck, I think the usual temptation is to listen to music, maybe stream something even though you shouldn't watch it. Don't drive while you're watching something on Netflix or Hulu or whatever it is.
Not good.
And I used to do that, but I realized it was just a complete waste of time, and so I really started tuning in to audiobooks and podcasts that were going to encourage me and inform me and educate me on business and different things like that, and so things like the EntreLeadership podcast that the Dave Ramsey company puts together, or Robert Kiyosaki has a really good podcast about money. There's endless number of business podcasts and business books, and you can have all these things for like around $15 a month. I mean, to be able to subscribe and educate, I mean, that's way cheaper than a college education, and I've probably learned more just driving.
Much more valuable too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the return on investment in that is tremendous.
Never stop learning. And listen, your college is just really, when you walk out of college, that's the beginning of your education. Absolutely great advice. Also, Craig, what advice would you give any young aspiring entrepreneurs? Some of our listeners are students like Ben from Sam Houston State Entrepreneurship Degree Program. What encouragement or what advice would you give for a young aspiring entrepreneur?
I tend to have a standard response to that question because I get asked that question quite a bit. And my standard response is simply this: who do you know that's doing what you want to do? And if you can identify that person and go and have a conversation with that individual and say, how did you get from point A to point B, and can you show me? And sometimes that means an individual, sometimes that means a business, but some of the best educational moments in my life have been when I've identified someone who is already at where I want to be in life. I stop and I have a conversation with that person about, I like where you're at. I want to be there very soon. How do I arrive there? How did you get there? What have been the pitfalls? What have been the best things that you've done to arrive at where you're at? Most people are happy to talk about themselves and encourage and educate other people so that they can go further faster.
And if you don't know that person, ask the question, who do I know? Who knows who I need to know?
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Get connected that way. This is a great show. Don't forget you'll be able to download a complete replay of Craig's show at houston.shrimptankpodcast.com. You'll be able to pick up his show on iHeartRadio and on iTunes. Lastly, Craig, before we close out here, tell our listeners how to get in contact with you and or Excalibur Pest Control.
You can find Excalibur Pest Control on Facebook and Instagram. You can search for Excalibur Pest, and you can also find us at www.excaliburpest.com.
Go out there now and get him on Instagram because he's got some fun things about creepy crawlers. He's going to teach you, he's going to school you up on all the creepy crawlers and what you need to know about them. It's a great show. We'll see you here live next week on The Tank.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond.